All right, class, we're going to be doing another black belt class today, and we're going to work on a few different things that we've been covering in classes, and I hope that you've been practicing at home. Of course, remember to start off by doing your exercises with your hand pad, your push-ups, sit-ups, burpees, and squats. Get your body nice and warmed up. You can do it as a warm-up before the class today. You can pause the video and then do your workout, or you can do it after your workout if you like, or really any other time during the day. But let's keep up that fitness, keep improving your strength, your muscle strength in your arms, your abs, your legs. All those exercises are great for improving the fitness. So keep up your pad fitness work. We'll do it in classes as well. All right. Today we're going to start off with the Kali sticks. And we're going to use 2 sticks to do some of our double stick patterns and movements. So grab your 2 sticks and we'll get started. Remember, this art, the art of Kali, or sometimes called Eskrima, is from the Philippines. And I've learned a number of skills from the different instructors I've had who've taught this very interesting art. Sometimes you do it with a single stick, sometimes with 2 sticks, sometimes with a knife or a stick and a knife, even sometimes a blade like a machete. So lots of different ways to use this. And there's a whole empty hand aspect of the Filipino martial arts as well. So when you're learning this art, it's not karate per se, but it's great for developing certain skills, body coordination, things like that. All right, if you got your sticks, we'll warm up first just with circling them side to side, all around. Just try to let your wrists make a circle. And if you can, try not to open your hand up as you're circling around, but keep a good grip and really just work the wrist. Really work the wrist. That's it. You can do them both at the same time. Good. You can alternate them. Do upward ones maybe first, and then downward. And then try one coming up and one coming down. That's a good coordination exercise, just to get the feel of loosening up the wrists and moving the sticks in a smooth motion. Another good warm-up is with your hands in the middle of the sticks and just twist them side to side. This loosens up the wrist, strengthens the forearm, gives you a good grip. You can raise one up, move it around a little bit, stretch it back, just moving the arms around as you're twisting the sticks back and forth. Good. And to get even more of an emphasis on the twisting of the wrist, we can hold it down at the ends, and we call this one the windshield wiper because it goes out and back this way. And give a good emphasis on the outward swing, and you'll feel that you're getting a great workout on the wrists and the forearms, learning to control the stick's motion. Good. All right. So those are some good warm-ups with the sticks. You can do a few more of those if you want at any time, just picking up the sticks and working with them to get that good grip strength and that wrist flexibility. Now, a lot of you know the drill we call the double figure eights, and that's making a figure eight with one hand and making a figure eight with the other hand. So you start in this position, we call it the closed position, and the upper stick starts first, and then the other stick comes next, and then the top one comes around. So it's one stick, the opposite one, and then back to the first one again. A lot of you know this. If you're not familiar with it, do it slowly at first, but you're alternating hands. Right hand, left hand, right hand. The third swing comes underneath your shoulder that it came from. So the first one goes across to the other side, second one goes across the other side, third one comes underneath. Across, across, and now this one comes back to the same side it started from. Good. Try that pattern a few times, and as you start to feel comfortable, you can make it a continuous action and just make them spin. This is using that wrist flexibility that you're working on and getting the flow of the arms. Remember, one hand goes on top, then the other hand goes on top, so it's alternating. Good. All right. Another thing to do is to work a strike. If we do a single strike, we can get a lot of force into that. Use your body, swing it through. There's a lot of force on a strike like that. But sometimes you can even get more momentum behind it by doing a circle first and then coming through with your strike. So you make a circle over your head and then come through with your strike. A circle and then a strike. Circle, strike. So it keeps the momentum going. So instead of just starting from your shoulder, it goes over your head first and then comes through with the strike. Do it slowly a few times. Over and through. Over and through. Good. And then you can start to put more into it. Spin it faster and then swing it through. It really gets a lot of momentum, a lot of strength on that strike. Do that 5 or 10 times to really get the feel of it, and of course work the other side too. Over your head and then through. The swing just by itself, it's a good strike. With the circle first, you get even more force behind it. Try that a few more times. Circle and through. Circle and through. Good. All right. Now, let's have you work on those moves on your own, picking up your sticks, doing your circles, and then at some point, you can bring one stick over the head and do that swing. Circles, circle over your head, do the swing. So you can kind of freestyle it by doing those circles, and then whenever it feels right, put that extra one with the circle over your head and that strong strike through. This gets you almost like shadow boxing with the sticks. Not only with that swinging strike, but even if you just want to strike out and back anywhere, you can make your circles, do a strike, make your circles, do a strike, do a poke, do a stabbing move, and then come right back into your circles. So this gives you a base to do your freestyle moves from. You can put in kicks, of course, with circling and kicking. And then striking, putting in extra strikes as you go. So just like shadow boxing, where you're doing it in a freestyle action, you're also doing it freestyle with the sticks as well. It's a great exercise. It gives you more fluidity behind your stick moves. And then as you do the prescribed patterns of the stick motions, then you feel even more comfortable because you've been doing it freestyle as well. All right, we're going to move on. And now we're going to use the bow. And many of you are working on the bow 1 kata, Tokumina no Kun, but also some of you are working on the second bow kata, Rashi bow, number 2 bow. Now, when I'm doing it with you, observing me on the screen, it's going to be mirror image. It's going to be opposite of the way that you would do it. It's hard to watch me and follow it exactly that way. So what I would suggest is that you watch this and maybe take some notes and say, oh, here's a move I have to remember. Or watch a little bit, then practice parts of the kata. Watch a little bit, practice some parts of the kata. But this way, you're going to get the best benefit out of it by observing what I'm showing you, making a note of something that I'm telling you that you can put into your own kata to make it better. So your Rashi bow starts the same way as the first bow kata with the same Yazame, Jutsuki, and Hajime, kata, Rashi bow, and around and twist. Now the same first 2 moves with the down block and the overhead strike. Now it changes. Shift your weight to the back leg and do a cat stance for the down block. And now come across with a reverse strike to the middle. And you stepped out to the long stance as you did that. Then overhead strike, 2 side strikes, switch your grip, and 1 more side strike. So that grip here, we call that the reverse grip because normally we have 1 hand up, 1 hand down. But this way, when they're both the same way, that's not our normal way of holding this, so we'll call it a reverse grip. All right, let's do those first few moves again. when you pull around and twist. The first two moves are the same as the first bow kata, but then you shift your weight back to a cat stance to do a down block. Now bring it all the way across to your left shoulder because you need it to be there to step in and get some force into your reverse strike as you step out into that long stance. Now, overhead, and then 2 side strikes, switch the grip, 1 more side strike. Now the next move is tricky for a lot of people, but if you think of your left hand, that's your front hand right now, coming back to your left hip and low, step forward and do your push block across the body there. So now you have your left foot forward, your left hand down, you've got a pushing block and a down block. It's kind of a combination of those two. Bring it back to your side, to your left side, and then 2 side strikes. Now bring the bow to your right side. So we're going to do the same thing, but with our right foot stepping forward, push block, and with the right hand low. Now bring the right hand back, side strike, and now wind up the bow back behind you and change to a horse stance, and now you're doing a thrust. And this is, again, a reverse strike, but it's like a reverse strike with a thrust coming in this way. Switch your right hand, catch it in a normal grip, and bring it back to your shoulder and do a down block, or a down strike, I should say, and a second down strike. So you get double down, 1, 2, then overhead strike, 2 side strikes, up, down, 2 more side strikes, and now slide into horse stance again for your snapping strike, and then feet together for your circle block. All right, so that section is the first part, stepping forward with the second bow kata. Let's do that again from the beginning. You know how to get to here. Twist. Here's your first down block and overhead strike. Those are in the long stance, Zen Kutsudachi. Now cat stance, down block, wind it up, reverse strike, overhead strike. 2 side strikes, switch your grip, and 1 more side strike. Now from this reverse grip position, left hand to left hip, left foot forward, pushing block. So it's half of a push block and half of a down block. It has elements of both. Now bring your left hand back to your left hip and 2 more side strikes. Now right hand to right hip. Step into that long stance, and again it's that pushing block, half down block, half push block. Bring it to your side, side strike, and now horse stance, thrust. Slap it up by having your hand come up and catch it, and change to a long stance as you strike down. 1, 2. Then overhead strike. 2 side strikes, temple height, up to the chin, down on the head. 2 more temple strikes, and then slide in horse stance, snap strike, and feet back together. So you can watch this section over a few times if you're learning that part of the kata, and see if you can pick up a few points. Try to learn this from what you're watching here, along with what you're doing in class. This can be very helpful, and it might be a reminder for you when you get home to do your own practice, how to make those moves work in the bow 2 kata, the Igarashi bow kata. All right, let's move on. We've also been working on Shinto kata recently, and as black belts, you probably know this kata quite well. We've been using this time as a review to sharpen it up. So I thought today I'd take a little different approach to it, because you know the moves of the kata, but I really want you to think about your stances and your angles. So I'm going to adjust the camera so you can see a tape line that I put down on the floor, and I'm going to be doing this kata on that 45-degree line, but you'll see the tape line is giving me a reference point as to where the feet should be pointing in these different parts of the kata. So you can imagine it in your own head, or you can, maybe in your basement or somewhere, put a tape line on the floor, or outside on the driveway, a chalk line of 45 degrees, and see if you can make this same reference point and do your kata like this, so you can have your feet in the correct position in all of these movements. The position of your feet dictates where your power is going, or the effectiveness of the the stance. So your movements have to be in line to get the most out of them and for the proper form of the kata. So I'm going to angle the camera down, and you can see that there's a tape line on the floor. So you're mostly going to be watching my feet at this point, and the 45-degree line is what you want to keep in mind as you begin the kata. So of course you do your Yasume and Kitsuke and Rei and Hajime. Hands come up and you say Kata Shinto and down, and now you're in ready position. Now the first move, of course you know it's an X block with the hands, but you step back on that 45-degree line. So my heel is on the line and I slide back so the ball of my foot is on that line, and my hands make the X block. Now, as I roll the hands open and reach out, my foot comes down, and it's right on the tape line, and it's pointing right along that tape line. Bring your left hand underneath and step to a long stance and strike. Now, if you notice, my foot is on a 45-degree angle to the line, but if you just look at where I'm pointing, my feet are pointing straight ahead from where I started. So this is how a Zen Kutsudachi stance works. It's a forward-leaning stance. Feet are at a 45-degree angle. That's for my back fist. Now I change to a Seisan stance. So I'm going to do two motions here. Step a little bit across so my foot becomes straight. It's pointing along the same line as the tape. And then my other foot slides up. So it's also pointing along the tape line as well. Now it's the punch. And now I turn that foot in so that I can step them both out to make the horse stance. Now, again, they're on that 45-degree line, and they're 90 degrees to each other. This is the double block move. All right, here's the spin. My front foot starts to turn, my right foot, and I spin all the way around, and I get back to a Seisan stance that's going to be pointing right up the straight line. That's my down block from here. All right, I'm going to go back to a cat stance again. And you notice I might be off the line. That's okay, as long as I am still in a relative alignment to it. That's what I'm looking for. This is the second X block. And now I lift the leg and I jump kick. And when I land, I'm again back in a Seisan stance, pointing right along the line for the low X block. Here's the next turn. Step around and X block to the back. Now, one more turn. Back to Seisan stance. And again, I'm off the line, but that's all right because my feet are pointing on that line position. Straight punch, step, straight punch, elbow, guard. I hope you know where I am. Hope you're following along okay. Now I have to move this foot, my left foot turns in a little bit because as I go back to horse stance, I want to be up right on that line again. Hands are going back. Now I come forward, I turn this foot. I can't turn it as much as I want to right now, but when I come through, I turn it all the way. So my back foot is 45 degrees to the line, my front foot is 45. I swing my arms through, do the chop, then change to horse stance, double hit down, then open hand block, hammer fist or forearm hit, I should say, and then grab, and now step back all the way along this line again. So you can see I'm back on that alignment of the stance with the hand thrown down. All right, so that's what we're going to work up to for right now. And even if you don't have your tape line on the floor, imagine it in your place where you're practicing. What's that corner that you're working towards from one corner of your room to the other to make it 45 degrees so that your feet are in that correct position? And you can see that there's some slight adjustments that are going on. Your foot might be slightly off to the side. You have to straighten it out a bit. You should know which stance you're supposed to be in which position, in which movement. So you could even say it to yourself, cat stance, foot down, long stance, and then you check. How are you doing? Are your feet in the right position? Seisson stance. Are they pointed the correct way? Horse stance. Are they in the correct position for that? So keeping that alignment in your mind, or even better, tape it out or mark it out on the floor, will help you keep a good alignment in your Chinto kata. I hope that helps. You can probably figure out the rest of the kata on that line as well, and that might be something we do in one of your classes here in the dojo too. All right, so I hope this was helpful for you today. We covered some work on the sticks, on the bow, and on Chinto kata. So keep up your home practice, come to your group classes if possible, and keep up your home training. You can even watch this video a couple of times to pick up all the fine points, get that extra practice in that we can all benefit from. All right, keep up the good work. I'm proud of you. I'm glad to have you as my students. Let's finish up with a bow. Good, and thank you very much.